In the dark, creatures crawl into the underworld. Afterlife, an abyss protects you. In the light, goddess of the sun brings you life. A deity, best it is her name. Come learn the ways of man. Become one with the sand. The fate is in your hands. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Capture the earth, chasing your mark. Get a lot mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim peace as war. In the dark, a river flows. The Nile is so exposed. The morning star is seen in our side. In the light, find your desert altar and your shrine. Look for peace, defeat the enemy. Run to the obelisk, defend this legacy. Fly to your destiny. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Capture the earth, chasing your mark. Get a lot mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim peace. We rise, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher. Conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up. We are the kings, we are the queens. We are the gods, gods to solve this animation. Turn on the walls, make it our mark. 'Cause we are the kings, we are the queens. Let's win this war.
Hello, 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 Governors. Welcome to Osiris League Season 8's Playoff Knockout Stage, Round of 16. I'm your host, Plato Gaming caster and content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. And back to cast alongside me is content creator Brian Koo. Thanks for being here with me, man.
Plato, good to be here. Another exciting Osiris League matchup here. WIB against VITA. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are now in the first knockout stage, the round of 16, where each of these teams is in a win or go home scenario against each other, fighting for the crown of Osiris League champion. And as Brian said, the second match that we are casting today will be in the realm of Horus. WIB, Watch It Burn from Kingdom 1846 versus VITA from Kingdom 1500. WIB is the first seed in this matchup, going undefeated in the group stage, beating the likes of 58H, NBK, and 1718, while on the other side of this matchup, VITA is the second seed, going 2-1 in the group stage, their loss being a close game against JST. So Brian, what do you think of the matchup that we have here today?
It's a very, very close matchup. The odds on this match are very close to even. And, you know, let's just look at this sort of through the story of Watch It Burn from Kingdom 1846. Of storied kingdom, lots of success in KVK and in Osiris League in the past. They've actually been in the finals of Osiris League. They made it to the quarterfinals of Anubis last season. But their leader, their longtime leader, Laguna, has retired or stepped away from the game. And so now Watch It Burn is without their longtime leader, still playing very well. And they're sort of this new version of Watch It Burn. They're running the gauntlet. Last week, the matchmakers threw 17-18 at them. WIB dealt with 17-18. And now it looks like they have an even tougher challenge against VITA from Kingdom 1500. VITA, not a ton of success in Osiris League in the past, but as you said, they lost a very close match to JST 2 weeks ago. They beat 1818 very convincingly last week. So, it just gets tougher and tougher for a team like WIB as they progress through this bracket.
Yeah, WIB is kind of the staple in Osiris League. In they've been kind of this Anubis giant where they would contest 960 in some cases, 960 always getting the upper hand of that matchup. But now this is their first time in Horus, and we'll have to see how they will verse up against their first opponent in this knockout stage, VITA. And as you've been saying, VITA, they don't really have that much success in Osiris League so far, but this season they look super, super strong. I believe we've casted about maybe 1-2 games of VITA, and they were dominant against the likes of, I believe, their group. And playing against JST, even though people are saying JST might not be the exact same JST, it's being able to compete against them, about losing by like 3K, 2K points. Is a very close match between those two. It's like the old guards of Watch It Burn trying to prove themselves yet again that, hey, we're still a kingdom to contend with. And VITA, not really known for their success, trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and there's just a real opportunity here as we talk about, the old guard, and we're in the oldest of realms here in Horus. This bracket is a real opportunity for a lot of teams. The winner of this match could potentially play JST in the very next round. And, considering that VITA nearly beat JST a couple weeks ago, either of these teams, if WIB can win here, either of these teams have a really solid chance in the next round, whoever they face. And all the 1093 teams are on the other side of this bracket, as is 1818's flagship team. So this is a real opportunity for either one of these teams. It's win or go home, but if you win, you might stick around for a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. And as we saw last match, as we get deeper and deeper into the playoffs, the games are gonna get better and better and better. The skill level is gonna get higher and higher, and it's a win or go home. Meaning, if you win this game, you make it to the next round. If you lose, your season is over. Your season is done. So both teams will have to pour it all out in this match, in this game here, and it'll be interesting because it's kind of like this situation where you have to bring the best of the best. You have to play in your A game, or else you might be eliminated from the match, from the tournament overall.
Yeah, and definitely some, I'll say this to just sort of hype this up a little bit more, some interesting skill choices from both of these teams in previous weeks. WIB has actually chosen to use hard push twice, or they've at least had it on their bar twice. And VITA has broken out master strategy every single week. I don't know if they've used it every week. You could tell me if they used it last week or not, but they've had master strategy on the bar every single week. And so, we always like to see the more interesting skills. I would say the boring way to do it is just to focus all your skills on mid, but these teams are not doing that. They are using a number of different skills that are useful on the sides and useful to do, interesting things.
As we get into the game here,
yeah, we are teleporting in on both sides.
Yeah, we have WIB in the top left, and we have VITA in the bottom right here. We can see all the players have teleported, and we have 2 minutes left until this match starts. Yeah, as you said, the skills are pretty interesting. I don't think I've seen anyone use hard push so far in these games. WIB using hard push is an interesting choice.
It's an interesting choice, right? It's 3 points, and it gives you quite a bit of march speed, and it gives you 30%. Your rally gets 30% more damage. You know, teams could pick Teardown instead, which Teardown is 1 point, and it gives you 40% attack on the building, but that's for every march. That's for the rally and for anything that's swarming the building. For way less points. So, I mean, I just wonder, like, why pick Hard Push over the Teardown? I guess it's probably just to use it right at the beginning of the match, get a bunch of march speed at the beginning, and hopefully, like, mess with their obelisk or, you know, just get your marches down the field faster.
Yeah, or perhaps they were sandbagging their skills in other matches. You know, being the first seed, winning all your games. I saw, like, the only close game they had was against 1718. So perhaps they have some hidden trump cards with their skills here, as we have 40 seconds left. Is there anything we should look out for in the beginning of this match, Brian?
Well, I'm always curious to see what teams do with their very fast tier one marches. We've got King Zhang in the front for VITA, and we've got Argo at the front for WIB. And you know, when you got that front row seat, and these are, I'm gonna guess, are also the people who cast a lot of the skills. When you got that front row seat, you can get out very fast with T1 Cav, and there's always the potential to do some things to harass the obelisk, to take down the enemy sentry wards, and yeah, you know, it's really about the T1 marches, and then it's about where teams decide to focus at the beginning stages of this match.
We see energetic used by VITA. Yep. And yeah,
you know, last match both teams were like sort of like basic with their allocations to the inside and outside lanes, and we didn't see too much happening at the beginning. We saw fighting, but we didn't see too many things flipping hands. But always curious to see if teams go heavy on something like the outside lane and try to get an opportunity there to flip a building very early.
Yeah, as we see the initial rallies and pushes here, outposts taken. We see that energetic used by VITA, but no energetic from oh, there you go. As soon as I say it, watch it burn using energetic as well. Castic cursing it. Maybe I reminded them, but we see VITA with 2 outpost rallies. Meanwhile, and all 4 obelisks. Meanwhile, for watch it burn, they have all 4 obelisks. So I think one thing when we watch the VITA in previous matches is that they definitely do go for these outposts. Outposts tend to be the name of the game for them, especially with these early rallies here. We could see the sentries. We see 2 sentries, 3 sentries by VITA. Kind of this line of sentries, line of vision, so they could see everything that's going on. Meanwhile, for Watch It Burn, they have the one in between the Sky Altar and the Shrine of War, but instead of that, they have no vision. Oh, there you go. They do have vision outside of their own Sky Altar. So pretty interesting placement, putting it a bit farther back, perhaps trying to catch out a VITA sentry.
Yeah, it's a cat and mouse game with the sentry wards. Obviously, with being able to watch recordings of all of the Osiris League matches, you can see where your enemies tend to put sentries. So I like these non-standard sentries by Watch It Burn. They're very unlikely to get caught out. You know, on the bottom side with the sentry that's near the Sky Altar, you can see if there's a sneaky attack coming from VITA, you can see that attack coming with that sentry ward. And then the sentry ward on the top side, I mean, you can see a lot with that thing. It usually doesn't get caught out, but you can see a lot. You can see movement going to the outside lane, and you can see some of the inside lane push. Although VITA's being very intentional about hugging the inside mountain range here to push towards the WIB Desert Altar for this first fight.
Yeah. Definitely trying to hug the walls, be a little bit sneaky. There are a lot of WIB marches, by the way, in this middle lane here. So VITA seeing this, it looks like they did send some marches here as well.
What? Wow. So, Midfight early? Is there like a preliminary arc that we don't know about?
Just playing for mid control here, making sure that there won't be any shenanigans coming from either team for both of these teams.
VITA looking a little light on this Desert Altar on the bottom side. But at the same time, WIB is posturing up kind of conservatively. So, yeah, if WIB had actually been aggressive and gone straight to the Desert Altar, I think they would have had an early fight, and they probably would have had a slight numbers advantage there.
Yep. As we could see, both the murder balls starting to converge it's funny how the outer lane murder balls always just instantly attack. The inner lane ones are always a staring contest within the first couple of although
you know the inside's going to be there. You know there's going to be a fight inside lane. Outside lane, it's like a surprise. You see a bunch of enemies and all of a sudden it's a surprise to both teams. Although in this case, WIB saw it coming on the bottom side. We
have 5 different entanglements here. 2 of them staring at each other. This mid fight being so interesting because we do see like at least one person, but I think there's at least like 3 marches, as now we have the Desert Altar fight starting to happen with 50 seconds left on the Desert Altars. Both of them at a decent spot for the defenders. You could see that the defenders for both sides here being in front of the Desert Altar, but it does look like VITA is getting sad face. We have a couple AFK marches in the back here. You need to get up there ASAP. Try to defend this Desert Altar.
One's the Yan. So
the Yan's okay. Fine. Yan's okay. As we go, it is looking very, very blue for at least these 2 murder balls. At least the mid fight for VITA here is going pretty positively, but WIB, the sad face is coming out from VITA. WIB is just clearing VITA out in front of the Desert Altar. We'll go ahead and check on the top Desert Altar after this Desert Altar opens. We have 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Let's see if the John was able to get in there. It looks like not. It looks like WIB able to take this Desert Altar control. Same thing with their Desert Altar. They were able to clear out the VITA marches there. So, and WIB somehow taking the Sky Altar.
Yeah,
not too sure how that happened.
The Sky Altar on the top side. Kind of surprising actually. The fight looked a little bit like the numbers looked even. I was checking out the bottom lane because VITA tried to do a sneaky attack on the Sky Altar there, but WIB stuffed it. WIB had a lot of players here. I see Bo Isa down here, a very well-known long-term leader in this game, and and Argo down here as well for WIB. So WIB's definitely stuffed things on this bottom lane, and well, WIB just dominated the outside lanes on both sides. Actually, they have pretty much all the structure, all 4 of those outside structures for the most part.
Yeah, and even the Desert Altar too. The 4 altars early on here is super bad start from VITA. What do they have to show for it? They have 2 outposts. Instead of that, that's
they
the
won
only
the mid.
structures.
They won the mid fight.
Yeah,
they did win that first mid fight.
They did win that first mid fight. There you go. But for the 2 outposts, giving up a Desert Altar, they got their Sky Altar back at least, but they need to try to get these bottom lane structures. The Shrine of Life was just recaptured by WIB, and then the Desert Altar here as well. You could see WIB, like clockwork, 5 minutes 30 seconds. They're like, hey, we need to start sad facing our marches here. We need to go ahead and go to these cities and start swarming them just so that we can start rotating for this mid fight. So overall, the structures will probably stabilize, but WIB, being the aggressors, being able to sad face their marches first, might potentially have, and we'll see if this translates in mid fight. I predict the WIB rotating first.
Yeah, Plato, first a quiz for you. There's one WIB player who still has not been able to sad face their marches because they're just like so thick. Do you have a guess at which WIB player that is at the Desert Altar who just cannot get his marches killed?
Makote.
It's gonna be Makote. Makote is gonna be the last one to survive at that Desert Altar. The harassment on the bottom lane of the Shrine of Life is definitely a big deal. We actually saw King Zhang from VITA, the VITA leader, he thought about going to the Shrine of Life, then his teammates took it, and so now King Zhang has his marches in his city and is going to get to. He's just starting to walk to mid now, and
meanwhile,
that can all affect all kinds of things. Go ahead.
Meanwhile, we have WIB just already standing there. Both teams actually rotating mid super fast. So I feel like both these teams are pretty, mid-focused, at least for this first arc. They don't want to give up this first arc for free. We see WIB just rotating lines of troops coming from their bottom lane, their top lane, their home structure. Same thing for VITA. So it looks like both these teams trying to go for a first arc hold and capture here.
Yeah, and I think so. They both dropped sentries mid. WIB's was conservative, and VITA's was very aggressive. But WIB's is going to sniff out the ward for VITA there, and so VITA likely will not have vision for this mid fight. And
They will.
just another conservative ward for WIB, but these conservative wards are good at sniffing out the enemy wards.
Yeah. I mean, there's two purposes, right? To see vision and to deny vision. And I think WIB's definitely been in this deny vision path with their sentry placement. We do see there are some marches here. This VITA Sky Altar in the I just want to go here while we have a staring contest in mid. VITA Sky Altar, 20 seconds until first occupation. But we have 3 super low marches. Who will win, VITA or WIB here? Oh my goodness, it is so close. This is
Hera.
like,
I'm boy, that they're just so low. I'm betting on the Hera just by the health bars. It's got to be right.
they were able to get the
It's
Sky
down to
Altar
the
capture.
down to the Scipio, but he just doesn't do enough damage. Yeah, good hold by VITA there. Definitely like super critical. That would have screwed everything up if they could not.
But I think this one might actually be a difference maker here. Just standing there, but like there is a possibility where he could just take that and deny 300 points just for free with one march. There you go. The what wasn't even needed. The CPO did capture the Sky Altar, so they did get first occupation. But because the capture, you now are, minus 300 points because they took the altar for 2 minutes. So it's like these little mind games when everyone goes mid, except for like 1 to 2 marches. What you can do with those 1 to 2 marches?
Sneaky tactics used. Wow. So it's probably gonna be in 1 second here, but mid-fight starting, skills kicking off.
Yeah. Sneaky tactics from VITA. I wonder which side is sneaky tactics.
Is it
he bogged down from WIB? We see double bog down. Okay, so we have the normal Venn diagram. Perhaps they're trying to sneaky tactics their carriers so that I'm not exactly too sure. We could just go and see the sad faces. And
barely even
chase.
fight so far. Looks like yeah. You know what? I wish I knew more about what sneaky tactics do. I know it just like cloaks your marches, but like, what was the? Does it give like an attack boost as well? I imagine
it cloaks 30 marches. There is an attack boost. I just wish I knew where the sneaky tactics were used. We're starting to see some sad faces coming up from VITA. But it does look like a pretty even mid fight. We still have some units trickling from both sides here.
I mean, VITA was split up mid. They had like marches on both sides of the temple,
Yeah,
so
perhaps.
maybe use sneaky tactics in.
Yeah. They did
to
have
like
this
flank them or whatever.
It is like a murder brawl down here. Not a murder ball, a murder brawl. Sad faces coming from both sides. We're starting to see some WIB sad faces coming through. But yeah, it's just like the sad faces exploding left and right. We have about 20 seconds left until this arc spawns, and it's still. I mean, I don't know who's winning. Actually, it looks like there are a lot of WIB sad faces coming out now.
Yeah, looks like VITA's starting to take control here. And, I wonder, VITA might have had more people mid. Just when that thing's set up, they had 2 balls, so it always makes it look like they have more mid. VITA might have had more people mid, but a really significant win mid for VITA there as sort of the slight underdog in this match. To win that first mid fight like that in a fair fight, that's just a big win for VITA right there. That says a lot.
It's also a big confidence booster, right? Where you're kind of the first couple of minutes you're litmus testing your opponents. You don't exactly know how you stand up against your opponents in a way, but in this case, being able to dominate that mid fight, super good for them. We're starting to see some 1846 marches start rotating late to mid, so they're perhaps trying to capture this arc. Because you could see like there's like a contingent of players coming through to this middle side here. In the meanwhile, they were able to capture the Sky Altar. So that Sky Altar that we were watching earlier, it was going back and forth. They were able to capture it again, deny some points there. So they should be winning in terms of occupation score by, yes, about 700 points. But 700 points is not going to make up for the 3k that you lose from this arc here.
Yeah, and WIB's also trying to take the Shrine of War that they're dragging this arc to. So that's also, you know, an interesting wrinkle here. They're also flanking. They're kind of going hard at this arc carrier from the top side. So, you know, VITA won the sort of, you know, they won the basic mid fight where you kind of like test each other's strength, but WIB was certainly more organized in the opening, and WIB is still causing problems for this arc carrier long after the mid fight was lost. So really, for the match as a whole, it's important that VITA won that first mid fight because WIB seems awfully coordinated right now.
And the thing is, we had this last match where, yeah, you're healthy now. Like, you won the first fight, but now you're half health, and there's going to be fresh marches running at you for this arc. You see this Shrine of War getting
deep trouble.
Ashed upon Paul Henried.
Yep.
There is a good amount of people here, and potentially there could be an arc steal.
Yeah, the nice thing for WIB here is that, because obviously when you try to steal the arc, you're devoting a lot of resources to do that. The nice thing here is that they sent it to the Shrine of War, where WIB can, at the very least, take the Shrine of War and get some points. You know, imagine if this carrier had taken this to the outpost instead. Imagine if they had just taken this arc and gone to the middle outpost. It would have been already returned, and all this WIB pressure at the Shrine of War would have accomplished only one thing: taking the building. As it is, they're taking the building and they're massively distracting this arc and potentially trying to steal it. I think, you know, VITA will likely still get this thing, but
yeah,
you know, they're creating space for VITA to get back their Sky Altar on the top side, and they may or may not be creating space on the bottom side, although WIB's on the attack on the bottom side, actually.
I mean, it is getting pretty close to the Shrine of War, and all it takes is just maybe 1, 2, 3 drags, and this is smart from VITA. It's exactly what we need to do. Take it away from the Shrine of War as much as possible. Create as much distance. Just, you know, take it away from the Shrine of War, but also from the WIB reinforcements here. Just trying to, you know, continuously move it farther and farther and farther away from them and closer to your territory. So it does look like VITA will be able to capture this. But in the meanwhile, you know, WIB has been active. They just captured the Desert Altar. They flipped the Desert Altar, taking away points per minute. You can see points per minute at 410 to 360. So there has been activity in other places in the map where WIB's just trying to extend their lead that they have right now in preparation for the arc that will give VITA 3K.
Yeah, it's you know, I love matches like this where you have one team that's sort of somewhat clearly the better fighting team in VITA. I mean, not for sure, but they won that mid fight pretty well. But the other team is just really strong on the sides and does a lot of interesting things, because, you know, you can't, it's, neither team is going to be able to win with just one of those things, right? WIB's probably going to have to win at least one mid fight somewhere along in this match, and VITA cannot let WIB consistently take their buildings either. So it just feels like a very fair match right now, and we love that. Yeah. Looks, where's the locus of action here? Topside seems stable. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there does seem to be like some people rotating from middle from WIB to try to take the Sky Altar. In the meanwhile, the VITA marches are going towards this Desert Altar of WIB, so that seems to be the big point of action right now, as the arc is going to be saved, and it looks like they're going to be, you know,
do you hold this
capturing
or
it late?
Return it?
If I'm VITA, ooh,
yeah,
that's a good question. The safest thing would be to hold it. The safest thing would be to hold it.
Because you have the lead? You're saying because you have the lead?
The thing is, like, it really depends on, like, the skill usage and all kind of stuff, right? But I think VITA, I mean, they were pretty dominant in that first mid fight. If they're confident in their mid, like, then perhaps they take it, because yeah, they're down 3 or 4 altars. They need to capture these structures, but I don't know, like, maybe they're kind of nervous about WIB being able to maybe they can't strike twice. You know what I mean? The thing about mid is like it's very, very, very it's like a flip essentially, where if WIB was able to get a pull and get reinforcements, perhaps they would have been able to win that arc. So the more and more you have mid fights, the more variance there is to the game. That's the word I'm looking for, variance. But I think right now they're probably going to try to take the Sky Altar, try to stabilize the structures, and then probably capture the Arc. Because I think in a straight up game, WIB seems to be winning the structure game. And their point of contention right now, the way that they've been winning is through mid. So I don't know. We'll have to see, because it's it's looking tough for VITA for these structures right now.
Yeah, I think maybe the best thing to do, I think you're right that they're sort of waiting to get their buildings back, because they have to take back the Desert Altar on the bottom side, and they have to take back the Sky Altar on the top side. And neither of those are that great. You know, they're not that easy to do. I think maybe the best thing to do is, like, as you're seeing those structures get taken, as it looks solid, then you return it. You don't wait for them to be taken. You sort of return the arc midway through, because then you have then the timing is just better. Then you're not standing around in the field for so long waiting for the next arc, right? The arc comes a little bit faster. Those marches can die. The take back marches can die, and then they can refresh, and then they're sort of like play defense, go mid. No big deal. Not much time elapsed. So it's like I would return it right now. They just took the Sky Altar back, and the Desert Altar looks. Desert Altar's a little tough. The Desert Altar they might not take back here. WIB might just hold this Desert Altar on the bottom side.
WIB's looking super, super strong. The Sky Altar that they took back wasn't even their own Sky Altar, although now they took the Sky Altar. They took the WIB Sky Altar. So they have two Sky Altars, but WIB has a Desert Altar. You can look at the points per minute, 560 to 260. The saving grace, I guess, is they're able to hold their shrines, and the arc. In terms of points per minute, though, it's looking pretty rough. But yeah, as you said, it's a pendulum, right? This game's a pendulum, because this is going to be a back and forth. The main thing about capturing the arc when you have arc control is to capture it when you are swinging forward, if that makes sense. So now that they're swinging forward, they kind of have this momentum. Perhaps you could choose to capture the arc now, so that by the time you do one more attack, you refresh, then you'll be able to use your sad face marches and rotate mid. But I don't know, these teams
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking to return it right now. I mean, they're on the attack, they've gotten their buildings back. What's the value of waiting? I mean, it's perhaps
then
you're
just
like standing around for a long time. Yeah, it might be what they practiced. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and we're just kind of like theory crafting our own, like what we would do in this situation. They obviously have done this a lot more times than we have, but we also have the sort of the objective perspective of these things, and we're like, you know, you return it now, then your marches die, then you're ready to go mid. Pretty simple game.
The standard thing to do would be to hold. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, you know, finding the timing of the swing is kind of tough. You know what I mean? Like you really have to understand the game state from a shot caller's point of view. So I definitely think that, you know, the safest thing for VITA to do would be to hold, capture, and just run it back for that second arc fight and do the same thing. If they capture both arcs, they stabilize the structures now. If they capture both arcs, then they're going to be in a solid position. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it can also be like the scoring, right? It's the scoring implications of like, if they're only down 1500 before the next arc and they win that arc, then they can, you know, really control the pace. Then maybe make it a 2-arc game, and just like win 2 arcs, win the match. So yeah, I see what you're saying now about the variance of mid and stuff like that, and how that factors in to the decision. Yeah. There's more variance in a 3-arc game if you're VITA.
Yeah. And, you know, these structures have been going back and forth. Sky Altar has been the point of contention for VITA. They've been able to have some success there. In the meanwhile,
they just switched from a Yan garrison to a Hera garrison in that Sky Altar. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think the Hera being preferred due to amount of flexibility with just filling with any march with a Hera garrison here. But yeah, Brian, if you're in this situation, which situation would you rather be in? Would you rather be in Vitas or would you rather be in WIBs?
You know what? I am a simple man, and I just want to be the team that wins the fights. So I would want to be Vita. They were, look, that mid fight was not super convincing. It was actually very close. So maybe I'm, dude, I go back and forth with some of these things. You know what? I'd rather be WIB actually. WIB's better on the sides, and like they barely lost mid. You know what I mean? They barely lost mid at that first fight. So
yeah, I mean,
I think WIB's in a better position.
Yeah, I mean, WIB's side game, like their lanes have been really, really strong. They're generating points from all of their structures right now. Same thing for Vita, to be honest, except for the Sky Altar that's been flipping back and forth. But yeah, it's such an interesting dilemma here because you could start to see that the occupation scores, pretty much everything's been occupation scores, but like WIB is starting to pull away simply from occupation scores alone to the point where Vita, even if they capture this arc, they're going to be up by 400k, which is pretty negligible, especially halfway through the game.
Yeah, WIB has a slight advantage on kills as well, maybe like a 5 to 10% advantage on kills versus severely woundeds. So yeah, they're certainly able to compete just fine in the open field with Vita. WIB at this point is trying to build up such a gap that they can potentially lose the next arc and still have a chance to win and maybe force Vita to return the arc early and do a third arc, something like that. And it's not going great for WIB because Vita is on the offense in various lanes. I think the bottom side Sky Altar is probably going to be a key spot here where WIB might be able to take this bottom Sky Altar. Janziska Garrison might not be optimal. So WIB's just, trying to get enough of a cushion here where if they do lose the next arc, they're still in the match. And they're on their way. They're actually on their way. Although the point differential right now is even.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like the team with the arc is a team losing the structures. It's like a tale of two strategies here, a tale of two situations where Vita hard pressed to hold these structures. It's looking really, really tough for them. This Desert Altar assault from WIB seems relentless. A lot of marches coming through here, although it does look like Vita have some marches to swarm down this rally and fill the structure. This Jan is getting consistently attacked here. We have Asher Bonapal with Henry, so swarming it is pretty punishing. And I think they're probably filling the rally as well. There you go. WIB with another Desert Altar, flipping this Desert Altar, removing another 300 points at least from Vita. And that's how they've been able to get these advantages. Not even holding and generating points from the structures, but at least flipping them. They just gained 600 points by taking the Sky Altar, the Desert Altar. The reason being, even like Vita just recaptured it, but they're not generating points for another 2 minutes. 2 minutes, times 2 times 150 being 300. Just the flipping of the structures for WIB is exactly what they need to do to continue to grow their lead here and make it an even game.
Yeah, and it begs the question, why hold this arc? What's the point of holding the arc if you're just gonna let the other team build up a lead against you? But well, I mean, when they do return it, it's gonna be a tie game. So I guess Vita's just doing the best they can on these sides and keeping it within range here. And like you said, WIB is only able to really flip these buildings. There's enough of an equilibrium here that they're not able to actually capture these buildings. They're also not really necessarily getting great garrisons into too many of these forward structures. Mm-hmm. There's a Herman in the bottom side Desert Altar there. Herman's actually not like the worst open field garrison captain in Arc, but Vita, I mean, I don't know. I would probably return this thing. give yourself a chance to win on the mid, because you're just getting wrecked on the sides.
Okay, so let's play out the game here. VITA is kind of playing it back and forth, slowly losing from structures. They capture this arc. At this point, WIB would have a 100-point advantage. It would make this second arc pretty much a win or win or lose arc.
A win or lose. Yep, you're right. You're better at math than I am.
Perhaps VITA is like, hey, we believe in our arc fights, but we don't want too much variance. We want to make sure both teams will have all of their skills. We haven't been seeing skills used for a while now. They use energetic like 20 minutes. They don't even
need to use energetic.
13 minutes ago.
They're maxed. They're already maxed. Like energetic is just like, you know, how do we speed up point gain when we already have max 10 points, you know?
So they're probably betting on if we have 10 points and they have 10 points, we'll probably still win this mid fight. Is my guess.
They did, and looks like did they return the arc?
They did.
I think they're about to. They're about to return the arc.
They have.
I predict they're about to return the arc.
There you go. It's like you're a little bit ahead of me or something.
Yeah.
Arc returned 7 minutes 30 seconds. We have a timer for this next mid fight. In the meanwhile, these altars keep flipping back and forth, back and forth. It's pretty funny how it's the altars that are flipping. There isn't really too much action around these shrines, to be honed.
Yeah,
all things considered.
Like this inside lane on the top
hard push
side.
used, by the way.
Oh yeah, hard push from WIB. So pretty cool timing, right? They were holding the skill. They were holding hard push until the arc got returned, because they know they're going to get enough point gain in the next 7 minutes to have all the skills they need for mid. So it's just like free value, basically. It's free value, and I guess VITA doesn't have anything on their bar to get that free value. This is where you would pop like the gathering boost or something like that. You just use those points. I mean, no point leaving them stale.
Well,
but you know, let's think. So let's think about the timing there. Like, did they just return that because like literally like the timing was completely they had to return it at that moment, or did they? Okay, that's what it was. It was just that. Because I mean, this is not like terrible for them. Well, actually, this is not great for them. Because they have all these fresh marches
left. Yeah.
If you look at like the desert altar here, I mean, they're gonna hold this desert altar, and they have a lot of fresh marches that are coming out that really don't have a lot to do before this arc. There's 6 minutes until the next arc. Are they gonna attack? Are they gonna do anything with these marches? Probably not. Probably not.
That is pretty interesting. Yeah. The pendulum is swinging towards WIB, where they're able to get the attack here, but then they're gonna be able to. That means they're gonna be able to sad face, and they will be able to rotate mid from those sad faces. We saw a 5 minute 30-second mid rotation for the first arc. We are at 5 minutes 30, and there is no one in mid right now. It's a ghost town. You see some sad faces, and as soon as I say that, I start seeing some blue lines. Like clockwork, WIB is starting to rotate first here, as predicted.
Yep, and on the bottom side, VITA's trying to figure out what to do with all these marches. Some of these marches are low health. Zhang's actually charging at this Shrine of War with some pretty full health marches. So, I mean, you know what? This is not bad for VITA on the bottom side. They're probably going to take the Shrine of War, and then they'll be able to get to mid in time.
Yeah, we will have to see with this extra push. Perhaps it's also, the marches that kind of... Oh, VITA using energetic right before. So they're definitely going to be trying to attack and get some Sev wounded here to get those points back. We have 4 minutes 40. Energetic in response by WIB. So both teams is using energetic off cooldown. We will have to see. Like, how there's marches that usually just attack the marches walking mid and try to get them low? Perhaps that's what VITA's trying to do with these extra marches. Try to deny this bottom side from rotating mid for free. Perhaps having 2 murder balls similar to what they had, except side by side, will have this bottom side. Because I don't see anyone rotating mid from the bottom. I see a couple of people now. But you could see people walking from base, going to the Shrine of War area, and kind of having this early murder ball scuffle with the people rotating mid. Usually when you're rotating mid, your arc leaders just try to ignore them, try to rotate mid as fast as possible. VITA using an early dust up.
They're not ignoring them though. WIB is not ignoring these marches. Really
WIB
interesting
sees
play
it.
by
Yeah.
VITA here.
WIB sees that there's too many marches for them to ignore. They have to fight this. So VITA using Dust Up, they are, attacking these marches early. We'll have to see if this pays off or if this will be a detriment to them.
It's really an interesting situation. These are the really like advanced, interesting dynamics of the arc match, where essentially VITA likes the fact that they are outnumbered here. VITA likes the fact that their marches are going to die, they're going to get sad-faced, and they're going to get to arc late. Whereas the WIB marches are going to be at yellow health and essentially have no choice but to go mid with those marches. I mean, it's a high. This is a riverboat gambler type of play by Zhang here. Zhang actually ran in. Zhang, the leader of VITA, ran in first to do this gambit here. It's a high variance play because they might not get to mid on time, but it's working well enough that it's like I can't call it like a bad play. And actually, they're gonna. Who's gonna win this fight at that little scrum there?
It actually looks like VITA's winning, which might not be good because
might not.
The whole point was to make them slow, right? But we're seeing sad faces, which is actually good for WIB because they get to refresh. Meanwhile, this VITA murder ball here will be low health, and they have 2 minutes 30 seconds until arc spawns. They might not be able to be a factor for this arc.
I mean, they could potentially hang out on the WIB side of the map instead of committing to the WIB ball in the middle. They could hang out on the WIB side of the map and just hit the marches that are walking to middle and get some value that way. You don't see too many arc. This is a crucial arc fight. This is the match. The whole match is on this arc fight, and you literally have WIB standing at the temple, and VITA is surrounding them from both sides.
It's like a kind of pincer maneuver from VITA here.
Yeah, a light pincer. It's a yellow health pincer from the WIB side there, or from the
As we start to see the murder balls look like they're clashing in this mid fight. Bog down used by VITA on top of this WIB murder ball. WIB using Heaven's Grace used by VITA as well. WIB
it's a great
with
Heaven's
a response
Grace.
bog down.
Great Heaven's Grace. You have so many hurt marches already that are going to get some healing here from Heaven's Grace. And
So both
WIB
teams
has
using
probably
bog
numbers
down.
at the temple. WIB probably has numbers at the temple, but VITA is hitting the WIB marches that are walking to the temple. And the question is, can that negate the WIB advantage that was at the temple?
It was kind of like a group of farm killers, you know what I mean? Where you have like a murder ball of people trying to make sure that the marches don't go to this mid fight. It was a similar situation for VITA here. It looks like a lot of sad faces coming out from WIB from my perspective. A lot of it coming from VITA as well.
A ton of sad faces. Big bunch of WIB sad faces right there.
WIB with Heaven's Grace in response. A late Heaven's Grace. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's
and I think Sneaky Tactics was also oh, never mind.
I don't see Sneaky Tactics as of yet, but perhaps
We'll
that'll
look
be.
for it. Let's see
there
if
you
we can
go.
figure out where it happens.
Now we see
Where's
a Sneaky Tactics. Sneaky
Look
Tactics
for it.
used
Can we
mid.
find it? It's mid. Okay.
Sneaky Tactics was mid, so they don't even use it for the stealth. I think they just use it for the attack bonus.
They must not. You know what? They must have master strategy as their last skill. So like they just have to use Sneaky Tactics as like a fighting mid skill. You know, they don't have anything else. There's nothing else for them to use. Master strategy is their 6th skill, and so they have to use Dust Up, Bog Down, Sneaky Tactics, because Heaven's Grace has a very long cooldown.
I mean, if Sneaky Tactics allows you to win murder balls by this much, maybe they're onto something. VITA winning yet another murder ball against WIB here, and that's such an interesting tactic where they were able to just rotate the marches. You were saying, what are they going to do with those marches? Well, we're just going to go straight into WIB, essentially disrupt the WIB rotation and win mid from there. So huge play from VITA, showing their mid dominance yet again. WIB, on the other hand, they weren't able to get that many structures. We saw that they had the Sky Altar for a little bit. VITA able to recapture that Sky Altar. Now VITA has that arc control we're back to a 1.2k differential in terms of points, but I think VITA is in a very solid spot here. This arc pretty much guaranteeing them the win unless they can't hold their structures. We start to see these WIB marches though, just beelining for this arc.
Yeah, interesting. So we've seen VITA be very aggressive, right? They were very aggressive with that mid fight where they literally approached that mid fight from a totally different angle than we ever see teams do it from. But also aggressive here after the arc where a lot of their players went to the WIB side and they're going to try to zero themselves on the WIB Desert Altar. But that means they have fewer troops here at the Shrine of War to protect this arc carrier. So
that is...
you know, continued aggressive play from VITA. You are who you are. You play the style that, you know, just is true to yourself. And I think it's going to work out for VITA here. But you know, you see that when you live by the sword, you die by the sword kind of style from VITA here. Yeah, this arc carrier is definitely getting pressured.
This double C has to run for their life because there's more blue marches coming here than red marches. That's something I'll tell you. And if the blue marches are able to take the Shrine of War again, this is going to be round 2 of them taking the arc to this top side. Shrine of War getting attacked by yet another Ashramana, Paul, and Henry. I'm getting deja vu, Brian.
Yeah, they love trying to return. They love just bringing this arc into the most contested part of the map over and over again. And you did work on the first one, so why not just repeat themselves again? But yeah, well, you know, at this point, the WIB has actually taken the outposts from VITA, so it wouldn't have been all that safe to take it to the outpost either. WIB definitely sort of closing some of the doors on VITA to return this arc safely and in a relaxed way. But you know, VITA, the arc is on VITA's side of the map. The score is very close, so you still love to be in VITA's situation, even though you know, WIB's definitely giving it the old college try to disrupt this arc.
I don't know. With the amount of blue marches here, there are a lot of VITA marches coming in now. These are the marches that sat faced by the altar. So with the amount of blue marches, and look how blue the top side of this map is too. Both sides of the map actually. Every single shrine, every single desert altar. We're saying that if you win this arc, you win the game. But if you're only gaining 40 points per minute to 560, WIB's doing exactly what they need to do in terms of delaying this arc. Now VITA is just oversending a ton of marches here. In the meanwhile, Sky Altar is nowhere near to being captured. Desert Altar is there is some contest on the Desert Altar, but I don't know, man. The WIB score is getting farther and farther away, and with 15 minutes left, if structures continue to be in this situation, then VITA might actually be in trouble here, even without WIB capturing an arc.
Yeah, quick check of the gatherers. There's one person gathering for WIB. They're on a level 3 tile. They've got a 300k Seondeok walking around. Now it's at a tier 1 tile. But so that's a 300k Seondeok gathering for WIB. I assume that's going to be a full-time gatherer. No gatherers for VITA. And we saw in the last match that LN93 literally did 4,000 points of provisioning with really not that many gatherers. Maybe like one gatherer the whole time and a few more at the end. So gathering could absolutely play a role here for WIB. Although VITA could create a third arc. There wouldn't be a ton of time for it, but they could create a third arc. I mean, they would have 6 minutes to return a third arc. And when you factor in the gatherer at this point, it's like a 3,000 point lead right now. VITA might be ahead by 1,000 points if they return this arc. Yeah, that might not be enough. With a gatherer out there and WIB's dominance on the side, 1,000 point lead might not be enough.
So if you're VITA, you would capture this arc. That's interesting. I
mean, it's tough, man. I mean, it's a tough call to make, but I mean, why not? Why not, man? Because you're so strong mid that if the worst case scenario is you just delay, you stop WIB from getting the last arc. Like, aren't you strong enough mid to stop WIB from returning a third arc?
That is true. Because, yeah, if there's going to be provisioners, We see WIB actually generating points from the opponent's Sky Altar. That is crazy. Shrine of Life as well. It'll take a long time for these VITA structures to start generating points for their team here. And even the Desert Altar, which is about to start generating points, is getting attacked.
I mean, even if they return this arc, they're behind. Even if they return this arc, they're behind right now. So you got to return the arc. You just got to return the arc. And you know, we went back and forth about it. We went back and forth about holding that arc. I get the points. I get the math of it and stuff. But I think they would have been better off returning the arc immediately, making it a 3-arc game, winning every arc. But these are very complicated. These are complicated decisions to make in real time in these matches. A lot of math, a lot of strategy, but they matter. They matter so much. We see so many big time Osiris League matches being determined by the decisions that teams make on a very high level.
Yeah, there's like two different, like there's a plan, and then there's the adjustments. In-game adjustments really distinguish the good teams from the great teams. And in this situation, I'd actually agree with you. They're down by 4K. You only get 3.5 from this structure, so it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. And so now WIB actually rallying the obelisk on the top side where the arc is. I mean, they don't even care. Like if you're WIB, you just like, I think you just like kill this arc carrier if you want, and then just like leave it on the ground or something. Like if you're WIB, you want them to return this arc. What is the point of holding this arc? There it is. Well, I mean, but so the map largely blue. Still a question whether VITA wants to return this arc and make it a 3-arc game potentially. But
yeah, it's gonna be. Ooh, it's tough to be in VITA situation where you're losing the structures, but you've been so dominant in these mid fights. I definitely think you pull the plug at the situation and just capture it as fast as possible here. But they're planning to hold. You said VITA doesn't have any gatherers, right? Meanwhile, WIB does have a provisioner, as it does look like they did capture the arc, so maybe they're listening to the call.
Yeah. I mean, so I see one gatherer. So VITA has a gatherer out that's like a forward Joan, but it just got attacked by WIB. So that was their one gatherer. Yeah, I do think WIB has like a very significant gathering advantage here.
So it looks like it'll come down to the final arc part 2, where WIB is ahead. They are winning in terms of points per minute, 660 to 330. Actually doubling points per minute. 10 minutes left in the game. Arc spawning in about 7 minutes 30 here. So it'll be a very close. If WIB's able to delay the arc capture, they might actually win it as well. It comes down to VITA being able to capture this final arc.
Yeah, they'll have to capture it very quickly, and you know, I guess there's an open question: can VITA win the mid fight so convincingly that they are able to return it in basically 4 minutes? I think it's unlikely. I mean, WIB got swamped in that. They really got smoked in the second mid fight. The first mid fight was close, but you know, the kill points in this match are still incredibly even. They're even. They're dead even, the total kills and severely wounded in this match. So I just think WIB is strong enough here that they can gum up the mid long enough to hold on here. But you know, maybe VITA can flip some of these buildings right now. I mean, it's still a WIB advantage, so they got a lot of work to do.
I definitely think it'll come down to this last arc. We've said that last arc.
Yeah, we said that last arc.
We're saying in this arc, there's only 9 minutes to go. Point differential right now is like 1.5. VITA using energetic. They're getting prepared to get as many points as possible for this final arc.
They do have
here.
master strategy. They do have master. We know almost for sure that VITA has master strategy on their bottom. So
interesting.
So they could warp it if they win. Like that last mid fight, the way the last mid fight played out. If they win mid like that, then they will win the match. You know, they'll win the match. but they'll have to use their skills to win the mid fight. So then they'll want to have 6 points for master strategy. So
we are seeing the same strategy from VITA. They're like, all right, we worked the first time. Let's run it back. Let's have the murder ball come back through, disrupt the reinforcements coming in. But it does look like WIB is pretty wise to this. They have like 1-2 players dedicated to just stopping the marches here, making sure that they can't be as disruptive as last time. And now the marches that were disrupted last time are now freely walking mid. So this is what we're talking about. These in-game adjustments for WIB. They're like, hey, we know VITA did this last time. This is perhaps the reason why they won that mid fight. Let's just send some people here and make sure that they can't run it back.
It's a great use of time and distance by WIB here, because VITA can't just run through these marches. Like, yeah, they have these marches outnumbered, but they have to fight them, because if they try to run through them, then they're just going to get hit walking. You know, WIB's just going to do to VITA what VITA did to WIB last time, and just hit them while they're walking. So, and that's just because there was that space. There was that space between the wall and what the wall was protecting. So WIB did, yeah, absolutely, like you said, made a nice adjustment there. You always wonder if that's like a call, or if like a player just said, "This is what needs to get done. I'm going to do it." Because it's always, you know, it's always that mix, like you say, between the plan and what you actually do. And what you actually do does come down so much to the individual players making very good decisions. And it looks like a player on WIB there made a very good decision. But you know what? Still good mobilization for VITA mid. And will it be enough? Will it be enough for VITA to win this arc, not use all their skill points, and warp the arc home?
I will say the point differential is getting crazy right now. The fact that they have Desert Altar, the fact that they have Sky Altar generating points, we're getting into dangerous territory where with provisions, perhaps even if VITA gets this arc, then would they even win? But for VITA, you have to go all in for this arc, because that's all you have at this point. We're at 2.5k points. If they have about 1.5k in provisions in the bag right now for WIB, we see that they haven't brought back their provisioners, as you said. There might be, you know, this might be WIB's game here, but VITA just have to go all in for this arc, because they lose this game regardless if they don't have the arc.
Everybody's going mid now. If you look to the sides, there is not a march to be seen on the sides. Everyone has gone mid. If they're not mid now, they're heading there. And it is an all, and it's obvious, right? There's not that many points more to gain from the sides. The points are in this final arc. The win condition for both teams is on this final arc. And it's going to be a very, very big fight here mid, not only in terms of importance, but in terms of the number of marches that are going to participate.
We start to see, it's like this weird, there's some marches in the back hitting, but we see WIB trying to reconvene in the top side here. It looks like VITA is going to try to get some of the AFKs. VITA using Dust Up early. We saw this last time as well. As we start to see the murder balls, I think VITA wants this fight now.
Yeah, interesting movement from WIB. Why, you know, they had equal numbers, but they're kind of running away. Almost, it's a weird bait into their own territory here.
I think it's because they just want the reinforcements in the back to come as fast as possible. Like, it's such a micro advantage, but if you're fighting on your side and your marches get there a second, 2 seconds faster, then might as well take that advantage. This is exactly what WIB did. And we're starting to see a bit of a different story, perhaps? We saw a couple of initial sad faces here.
WIB looks like they have more, right? This looks like a bigger WIB ball mid.
Yeah, I see more blue, but I'm also seeing more blue sad faces. I do see a lot of WIB sad faces.
Yeah, it might. Oh boy, VITA is friggin' strong, man. VITA hits hard. VITA hits very hard.
This is for the game here. If VITA capture this arc, they will be able to come back and potentially win. But WIB is trying to shut off their hopes and dreams and take this arc for themselves. The first arc that they'd be able to capture themselves. The mid team in VITA versus the structure team in WIB. WIB's getting sad face though. I saw a line of sad faces coming out from WIB.
So VITA used 6 points. They used Bog Down and Dust Up. They used 6 points. They potentially had 4 other points when this mid-fight started. Can they generate enough points quickly enough to get to 6 to cast Master Strategy? They could have also had points in the bank. Or they could have had 4 in the bank. I mean, they really just need to have enough skill points. They need enough skill points to warp this thing home. Although even then, it might not be enough once the WIB gatherers come home.
We are starting to see some sad faces from VITA. And it looks like it's going to be a top versus bottom now. We see the VITA reinforcements coming from the bottom side here. And it's going to come down to whoever gets this first pull. It looks pretty even. I'd say the battle stay in the middle. Both sides. If you get a pull, you're going to be in a solid position here. Probably more towards WIB's favor. We see Arc is going to spawn in 4, 3, 2, 1. Arc has spawned. Who will get this first pull? It looks like, and from my perspective, it looks like WIB has this first pull.
It's all on the WIB side. All the timers seem to be on the WIB side.
But it was VITA. Wow. VITA somehow, the timer
VITA
is grabbing it. That is absolutely huge for them. Pulling it.
Double C on
double
zero
C.
health, pretty much. He's pretty much dead.
This
One March
MVP
hitting
double
him.
C.
Oh no, it's full health double C.
This
Wow.
MVP double C. This is the play of the game here. Able to get the pull for VITA to potentially get this Arc. The Arc has been dropped.
But can they warp
WIB
it? Can they warp this thing?
That's the question, right? If do they have enough for Master Strategies? And even if they capture the Arc, do they have enough points? They're down by 4.2k points right now. This Arc only gives 4k, so they have to somehow get points from other places. We see WIB didn't even bring back their provisioners. This is gonna be a tough one for VITA. Everything that they needed, that pull was absolutely vital for VITA. But even so, they're down by such a huge margin, 4.3k points.
Oh, so VITA uses Heaven's Grace, so they're not going to be warping this. They're just going to try to bring it home in the final minute here. VITA also rallying. You see there's this desperation. VITA rallying the Sky Altar on the bottom side with a 700k rally and 3 Swarmers. Players definitely being redirected to try to get points somehow in the final minutes. Looks like the Gatherers have... No, the Gatherers have not come in yet. Boy, I hope these Gatherers get it in time. Maybe it wasn't like a major Gatherer. You know, it might not have been a major Gatherer, because they just haven't... The points have not gone up yet.
There you go. This Arc is getting delayed by WIB. That's all they need to do. All they need to do to shut off this game is deny the Arc. Right now, they would win even if the Arc's captured. But just in case, they don't know if VITA has Gatherers elsewhere. It is such a close one. With the Arc dropping over and over and over again, the game timers tends to be wrong. There might be a couple more seconds until this game ends here. But even so, I don't think this Arc will be captured. For VITA, WIB just consistently getting these first taps. And the thing about that is, as long as you tap it, that's minus 10 seconds. Because VITA has to dedicate another 10 seconds to try to capture the Arc yet again. And that's how WIB was able to not allow VITA to capture these Arcs. It's slowly but surely going there. And yeah, as you said, they gummed it up enough.
But I mean, you know, but they didn't even gum it up that much. You know, VITA like made a really good try at that thing. Didn't use all their skills, you know, didn't use sneaky tactics if it had been available, and almost got this thing home. Almost got a third Arc home. They needed another minute, 90 seconds, and they would have returned yet another Arc. Although, it likely would not have been enough. Kind of crazy game here, where VITA really dominated the mid, but WIB managed to win by 5k points anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Game is super close. The Arc is approaching. Slowly but surely, we have an 18k march just trying to get to this desert altar. They're desperately storming down this desert altar. Heraclius holding on for dear life.
Did they get there? I guess they got to get the building too. That's the problem.
WIB able to take down the Arc Carrier. Building did flip for VITA. VITA just desperately trying to get this Arc. WIB able to deny the Arc, able to win the game. GG's to both teams of VITA Dream with 252k points. But it was just not enough against WIB. The occupation score being the name of the game. Almost 11k occupations for WIB versus VITA. Provisions also being at 1.7 to 212. So GG's to both teams. Super exciting game. But Arc versus Occupation, the Occupation team ended up winning. Brian, do you have any final notes for this game?
Yeah, Plato, a very interesting thing. Such a stark difference here. Occupation score absolutely dominated by WIB. They also won in Gathering. They lost both arcs. They lost three mid-fights. If you count the beginning of the game, they lost 4 mid-fights. And yet they still managed to win kind of convincingly. I mean, it was closer than the final score indicated. But, you know, I guess you have to just say that WIB outmaneuvered VITA in this match, and yet at the same time, so many good maneuvers by VITA here. So just a really well played match, and you know, WIB sort of they showed their experience. They won a very unique match. They pulled it off. They had managed to advance.
There you go. GG's to both teams. Be sure to subscribe to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel for more Osiris League content. This was just the first round of the knockout stage. We will have the semifinals. We will have the round of 8, the round of 4, and then the finals coming up these next coming weeks. So be sure to subscribe to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel here for more Osiris League content. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, Plato Gaming, and Brian Koo's channel in the description below. We have Kingsland this week, and we'll catch you guys there.